India has a mindset where it punches below its weight. We have to punch not above our weight. We have to punch not below our weight. We have to increase our weight and punch the post.
ये हमारा सिद्धांत है, हम घर में घुस के मारेंगे.
You know, victims of terrorism do not sit together with perpetrators of terrorism to discuss terrorism.
Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi. As you can see, I have with me Mr. Tilak Devasher, जो हमको बताएंगे भाई पाकिस्तान में एक गड़बड़ हो गई है. गड़बड़ ये हो गई है, and this is Sir's strong point as far as Pakistan is concerned. The Pashtuns and the Pashtunwali. Pakistan में ये गड़बड़ हो गई है is that the Pashtuns and Punjabis are now going to start having trouble, and this is something that we have spoken about on the channel before कि ये हो सकता है. अब ये शुरू होता हुआ दिख रहा है. So that's something that we will talk about. Second, we will talk about is the Haqqani killing, the Khalil Haqqani, which is now allegedly been taken out by the ISKP. So uska bhi revenge aayega. And of course, Faiz Hameed and Imran Khan would be on the sidelines as well. Sirji, namaskar. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Aadi. Thank you for calling me again. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and it's great to be back.
My pleasure, sir. Sir, let's start with this Pashtun versus Punjabi. You know, ये जो भी पीछे Imran Khan का this whole march and all that happened, Punjabis killed Pashtuns. Let's put it as brass tacks. ठीक है, गोली शोली जो चली है, Pashtuns died, Punjabis killed them. How long do you think the Pashtuns and Punjabis will keep this proverbial war away from each other? क्योंकि somewhere down the line, this thing will explode as a Pashtun versus Punjabi game. Abhi tak to hai, theek hai, people are talking about it and all that. But the next time when the Pashtuns come in, they will come with weapons. So how do you think this game is going to go forward?
You see, Adi, a couple of things. The killings are just the surface, the tip of the iceberg. If you look at the background a little bit, the establishment, the government, or whoever you want to say, is determined not to let Imran Khan get any power. They want to demolish the PTI somehow or the other. Now, it just so happens that while Imran Khan has a support in all over Pakistan, undoubtedly, in Punjab, in Sindh, in Balochistan, the people who came for that long march were primarily, predominantly, and largely from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They were all Pashtuns.
Sir.
There was only a smattering of people from Punjab, some from Sindh, some had come from POK, but you can say about 95% at least were Pashtuns who had come from KPK. So there was that factor, that any action taken by the government would be seen as being an anti-Pashtun. They were trying to do it anti-PTI, but people from Punjab didn't come in. The arrangements in Punjab were such that even intercity transport was blocked. People could travel from one city to the other or go anywhere. So there were hardly any births. Even the leadership did sort of turn up from Punjab. So it became a Pashtun versus the state forces, which were largely Punjabi. So there is that one dimension to it. The other dimension is that this Pashtun who came from KPK were facilitated by the KPK government because the chief minister himself was leading it. So there was a lot of facilitation by the KPK government in terms of vehicles, in terms of cranes, in terms of all kind of equipment to move the containers away. So there again, it began, Pashtun versus Punjabi thing. And for the government, for the PMLN, after the last elections, where the PTI did so well even in Punjab, they are trying to push the majoritarian narrative. That we have to get back control of Punjab and of the Punjabis to strengthen our government. So while the famous Punjabi slogan is Jaag Punjabi Jaag, Teri Pagdi nu lagi aag. That wasn't used in the elections, but there is a subtle message which is being across to Punjab that look, we are being threatened. The Punjabi heartland is being threatened by the Pathan. And we have to get together and prevent this domination of Pakistan and domination of this area by the Pathan. So there was that element also being played out by the government deliberately to make sure that they're able to mobilize the Punjabis against the PTI. Third, once the Long March failed and the leadership went back, leaving the people on their own devices, so there was a lot of frustration and anger among the people who came because they'd be left leaderless. But what the government did then, they said, look, a large number of illegal Afghans were part of this long march. Now, Afghans are also Pashtuns. KPK is also Pashtun. How do you distinguish who's an illegal Afghan and who's not? So the Islamabad Capital Development Authority launched a crackdown. Any Pashtun who they could pick up, driving a car, working in these various mandis and things like that, they picked up, they covered their faces with a black cap, black cape, which was reminiscent of the Guantanamo Bay prisoners, and produced them in court. Saying it's illegal Afghan hai. Checking of people, So once you start harassing common citizens who are citizens of Pakistan, who are from KPK, working in Islamabad, Rawalpindi, you create a sense of alienation. People say, what the hell, yeah? Am I not a Pakistani? Should I be treated like this? So, there are these 3-4 things that have combined to happen together. And then you have the Faiz Hameed case. We'll talk about that in detail later. But because Faiz Hameed has been sort of court-martialed and the charges have been levied against him, so you find Imran Khan immediately said that they will have a meeting on 13th of December, which is today, and they will launch a civil disobedience movement from tomorrow. If his demands are not met, 2 main demands: you release all political prisoners and set up a judicial commission. Now, I don't know what has happened today. I haven't been sort of tracking it on a day-to-day basis. But supposing, let's say, the demands are not met. Now, what he wants in a civil disobedience movement is that people should stop sending remittances from abroad so as to hurt the economy, and people should stop paying their gas and electricity bills. Now, both these are not going to happen. I mean, I'm sticking my neck out and saying they will not happen because the people who are sending money from abroad,
it's for their families.
It's
for their families.
Exactly. For their survival, for children's fees, their food, especially when things are, getting expensive in Pakistan. So how can they stop? It's unfair to ask them to stop. And these are not company profits that they will stop. And secondly, if you stop paying your gas and electricity bills, for example, if the leadership do that, if they do that, they lose their seats in the assembly. Can they afford to do that? Can people not afford to have electricity in the height of winter? If you don't pay your bills. Now, if people do that, and it is done largely in KPK, then it's a direct confrontation between the Pashtuns and the Pakistani state. Because people of one province are resorting to civil disobedience by not paying this. Now, I don't know whether Imran Khan really calculated, this is how it will be perceived. This is what the repercussions are. And if you read some of the journalists who are well clued up, they report that he did not consult anybody. Sitting in jail, he just tweeted, 13th ko meeting hogi to express regret at all the people who have been killed. And if government doesn't agree to our demand, civil disobedience movement. And the whole party feels that this is a wrong thing to do at this time. Should not be doing it because it will not be implemented. He'll fall flat on his face. So the long march has failed. This is going to fail. But in the process, you have created a divide, you have created alienation between the Pashtuns and the larger. The Pashtuns are now feeling with their backs to the wall. Especially in the way they are being treated in Islamabad.
Yeah.
So it's a it's one more nail, because if you disturb ethnic unity in such a manner that you target one community because they are supporters of a party, an opposition party, a party that you don't get along well with, and it's not a very comfortable thing for the state for the future.
So, I mean, this is a very, before चलावें गोली on these guys, somebody would have told them कि यार आप ये करोगे तो बैंड बजेगी आगे जाके, ना करो अभी ये सब. Is there no advisory to Asim Munir who will tell them about ethnic divides and this and that?
You see, the only divide they are worried about is they don't want to shoot on Punjabis. Pashtun, Sindhi, Baloch पे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. It is if you ask a Punjabi army or a Punjabi paramilitary to shoot on Punjabi crowds. This is what happened in Lahore in 1977. When the PNA movement had started and there were demonstrations in Lahore, 3 brigadiers refused to open fire or asked their troops to open fire. 3 brigadiers were court-martialed. And those troops who fired, well, they found empty shells, but the injuries were not there. That means they were firing in the air. Now, if an army is trained to kill, to shoot, if the army fires in the air, that means the discipline and chain of command is broken down.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the motivating factors for Zia when he realized that his army is going to crumble with this agitation, not, soldiers unwilling to fire on Punjabis. So if it was the Punjabi crowd, then the kind of killings and all would have been a very different story. But because it was Pashtuns, so Asim Munir and company had no compunction.
What about the Pashtunwali, sir? Now there'll be revenge. So how do you think that will go forward?
But the thing about Pashtunwali, there's no time limit. The famous saying of a Pashtun that I took revenge after 100 years and I thought I had taken it too soon. But this thing will remain. It will happen sometimes or the other. There's no time limit. So it will fester. People whose parents or fathers have been killed, it will fester. The son, his son, down the family, ultimately they will act against the Pakistani state.
The thing that the Sone pe Suhaga as per se, is the factor that now this Khalil Haqqani goes off. Now, Khalil Haqqani is not a small guy. He's very Sirajuddin Haqqani's uncle. Big chap, interim government, Pashtun, leader of one of the biggest leaders of the Afghans, this, that, he was, there's a lot to his credit. And the Afghans are now openly saying, boss, हमने छोड़ना नहीं है इनको, पाकिस्तानियों को छोड़ना नहीं है. And the main thing is that they know that ISKP is run by ISI. ISI is predominantly Punjabi. And that is why I'm putting 2 + 2 4, that will the Afghans now come all out against the Punjabis?
You see, the very significant statement which was made by, I think, Taki or somebody, one of the spokespersons, who said we are carrying out investigation and there were 7 cases attacks by the ISKP this year, of which 6 trace their origins to a foreign country, a neighboring country. Now, which is the neighboring country, which could be involved? Obviously, it has to be Pakistan. And he said, if we find the tracks or traces going to any particular neighboring country, we will certainly react. Now, you are right, because this Haqqani is the highest ranking person who has been killed since they took over power 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The earlier higher ranking one was one of the governors, I think of Badgiz or Badakhshan or something like that. One of the governors, I don't know which particular province. But this chap is, a holy cow in the sense that he's from the family, the Haqqani family. He's the uncle of Sirajuddin, the brother of Jalaluddin, younger brother of Jalaluddin. So he is something which they have targeted and touched a very sensitive nerve. And it is in Kabul itself. The security of the Kabul is with the Haqqanis. So the ISKP has managed to breach that and get at a target, one of the core family members. So they were certainly going to react because they have to show their own people. You see, the talk is that if you cannot protect your own, if you cannot protect a Haqqani in Kabul, who are you going to protect in anywhere else in the country?
Yep.
अब हेलमेट में किसको प्रोटेक्ट करोगे और नंगर हाथ में किसको प्रोटेक्ट करोगे? So for the Taliban now, it becomes imperative that they take action and they take action quickly. They can delay it for a while, saying हम inquiry कर रहे हैं कौन है कौन नहीं है, but they can't delay it beyond a point. Otherwise, their reputation, their stock will really come down. Then people will start resisting them more. So today they are scared. Tomorrow that aura, that thing will come down if they don't act quickly. So I would be worried. I would be very worried, both the ISKP itself and the handlers of the ISKP. Because they're bound to come back with all guns blazing.
Yeah, they will hit back and they will hit back hard.
Yeah.
Yesterday,
And it will be I'm sure the TTP is already putting bullets into their magazines and things like that.
Yeah, I saw a video of more than 300 chaps crossing into the border yesterday.
Okay, yesterday. Just after they relocated them from the border to Ghazni.
Yeah.
So they must have been those guys. They're back. And this will not be a single target. This will be a mass casualty attack. If you take out target like Haqqani, then the retaliation will be very severe. It will be very severe.
How would you think they would, hit back? Will it be a hit back on people? Will it be a hit back on the army? Will it be a hit back on infrastructure, or the prime target of all, China?
It will not be the people. I think that if the Taliban are using the TTP as their instrument for exacting revenge, which I think they will, maybe bolster their strength by their own cadres, it will not be civilians. Because if you notice, ever since Nurwali Masood has taken over charge of the TTP, they have lessened, if not totally eliminated, attacks on civilians. The ISKP, which has been targeting the civilians. So it will be a hard target. The army, paramilitary, police, or whatever you will like it. I don't recall them having attacked infrastructure so far. It is more of a BLA, the Baloch, who have been doing it, and the TTP is going in after hard targets.
What if they put one of those dams in the north? I mean, it's done.
Yeah. So that will be a new thing for them to do that. But it will be a fairly substantive attack. This is what I personally feel.
I've been trying to kind of see this, that the TTP has the capacity and the capability of doing big damage, like taking out a dam and this and that. They have that capacity. Why haven't they done that till now? Fair enough. They didn't want to
civilians. You blow up a dam, civilian casualties will be there, mass casualties. So I don't think so. They will do that. They could instead, like bridges, for example, disrupt communication. That's a different, order of things. But they are more likely to attack hardened targets. Maybe even a senior army commander.
Now, this is where Imran Khan comes into play, who calls himself a Pashtun, right? And we know he's in touch with these guys. We know he's in touch with all these kind of groups around the place. And how do you think, and a lot of people have spoken on my channel as well about an alliance between the TTP, BLA, PTI and PTM?
I don't think so there could be an alliance. Because if I think talking to them back channel or allowing their families to come and settle when he was Prime Minister, that's one thing. But at the current stage, I don't think so any of the PTI leadership, they're all politicos. They're all politicos. They may find uses for the TTP. That's different, but I don't see Imran Khan going down that route.
What about the PTM, sir? Do you think they finally? I mean, they did that huge jirga and this and that.
Yeah, yeah.
This is where
So आज 2 महीने खत्म हो गए. Today 2 months are over. They had
हो
given
गया.
a sort of a ultimatum that within 2 months the army and the TTP should pack up the bags and go home. So let's see
Yeah.
what they do now. They said they will hold another jirga to take. What steps will they take?
This
I
is where
haven't
I
heard.
find this is where I find the civilian leadership of the Pashtuns very evil. You know, they jirga, this, that, they bloody got 4 people killed, and you know, they did all that stuff. And when they came for the jirga, they got their backsides beaten, they did all that stuff. They did the jirga, gave the warnings, and then they just puss.
Yeah, so we don't
You
know.
know,
We don't know whether they'll organize now another jirga. They were supposed to set up a core committee and a secretariat. Yeah,
Hmm.
set up a secretariat so that they could deal on this on a regular basis. So I don't know whether that has happened or that is going to happen in the near future. Also, it's very cold in those areas. So let's see, let's give them some bite time. Because again, it's a question of credibility. Once you go out on a limb and you give an ultimatum, and then you don't do any follow-up, then the whole movement, the credibility goes.
That's my whole
Next,
point with these guys. Sir.
yeah.
They just, somehow, and I mean, you've written extensively about these guys, so you know their mindset. What explains this whole mindset of just not acting on their whole game after doing so much, losing people? At the end of it, people's lives. I mean, you kill so many Punjabis will bloody burn half of KP.
No, you must realize that the Pashtun concept of time is very different. The famous line, you have the watches, but we have the time. So again, in among the Pashtuns, the time is not, counted in second, hours, and days. They're in no hurry. They are in no hurry, and the longer it takes, the more it festers, the more fear you create in your enemies. पता नहीं क्या करने वाले हैं, कहाँ से आएगा? That has been the practice in the past. So, a revenge or coming back or doing what they've said they will do is not determined by modern day time. Patience is a virtue of the Pashtun. He waits. He waits for the ideal opportunity. And when that opportunity comes and he finds the circumstances are not right, he will withdraw and wait again for the other opportunity to come. The British found this, that people have written extensively about this.
Huh.
The patience of a Pashtun, he said, is absolutely amazing. He will sit day after day lying in for an ambush. And even when the situation is ripe, but he finds something is not there, he will walk away. Come back tomorrow. Come back the next day. Come back the day after. Till the situation is right for him, and then he will launch viciously. So let's give them some time. But yes, this is something to watch out for. What exactly do they do?
It's quite interesting. How do you connect this with the whole Faiz Hameed thing, sir? Because Faiz Hameed again was very close to these guys, the Pashtuns and the Afghans and stuff like that. And many people kind of put the game across that Faiz Hameed was also responsible for the TTP attacks. A lot of people believe so. I don't personally. It's a little far-fetched, but fair enough. Let's put that as a consideration that he was allowing, or he was post his retirement at least, he did kind of work at the back end to destabilize Pakistan. How do you think the Faiz Hameed court-martial is being perceived today, sir?
You see, you need to make a distinction. One, Faiz Hamid was doing what he was doing on his professional capacity.
Yeah.
As ISI chief or as corps commander in Peshawar, that is a professional thing. But the Pashtuns don't have that kind of emotional connect with Faiz Hamid. Because he is a blue-blooded Punjabi. They knew that he was doing it as a job. Not that he had an emotional connect with them. So, as far as court-martial is concerned, barring few people whom he had settled, who he knew personally, he may have done favors to, it will not bite the TTP or the others, Taliban, very much. Because he तो अपनी नौकरी कर रहा है, उसको, he got money for it. So there's no emotional connect. Yes, but if they were to link up Faiz Hamid's court-martial, you see, because that court-martial wordings of the ISPR is beautifully worded. He's been charged for misuse of authority, for corruption, for engaging in political activities, violation of the Army Act. The second part is that what is under investigation is his role in fomenting unrest, including but not to only May 9th incidents, integrity of the country, which are under investigation. Now, that is a dagger which is dangling over Imran Khan. That if he does not behave himself and continues with the civil disobedience movement or continues or does anything else like that, then that second part, which has been kept in reserve, will be charged, and there they will link up with Imran Khan and charge him under military courts. So it's a two-part strategy which the army has adopted. पहला part तो सिर्फ simple है. He misuses authority, involved in corruption, used undue influence to get that top city, extract money from that, and so on and so forth. Punishment for that will be a couple of years in prison, losing pension and stuff like that. The other part, which they are under investigation, the sentence is death. So now the ball, so Imran Khan comes to, if Faiz Hamid has sung to save himself, कि मैं जो कर रहा था was all on Imran Khan's behest, then they both go to trial together.
Will they ever, sir?
Now it depends who's advising Imran Khan and what his own intelligence tells him to do. You see, what the army apparently is telling him is, stop trying to destabilize this government. Your long marches, your civil disobedience movements, and all that kind of thing, just put an end to it. Bide your time. We are not going to go in for elections. He wants elections right away and then he should become Prime Minister. But what is not going to happen? Give it 3 years, 4 years, 1 year the government is already done. Uski term abhi chalne do. Uske baad we let you contest the elections on your term. Look at Nawaz Sharif. He also came back. So did Zardari. So, bide your time. He refuses to relent. You see, Bushra Bibi has tried, Gandapur has tried, all his other Barrister Gohar and all the other people, they've all tried to tell him that, look, be a politician, be a, what a politician would do. Politician always lives to fight another day. But Imran Khan is probably one of the very few in Pakistan. He's not going to compromise. You see, look at the way he changes his stance. First, he said he'll talk to the government. Then he said he will not talk to the government, he'll talk to the establishment. Now he's saying, I'll talk to the stakeholders. So who are the stakeholders? So he keeps deferring who he wants to talk to. And even in negotiations and the people who have come to him, he's just not relenting. So this is now the knife that they have poised on top of his head. Carrot and stick or whatever you call it. If you don't play ball now, this is the last opportunity. Then Faiz Hamid is going to hang for disturbances of May 9th. Not only that, others also. Integrity of the country and all that. And you will hang together with him. And for that, the only punishment is death here. So I know I think the writing is very clear. The message should be very clear to Imran Khan. What he does, only Imran Khan knows.
Can they do this, sir?
They can certainly do it. The more important question is, will they do it? It depends how desperate Asim Munir is.
Okay. What do you think?
So let me tell you about what Zia was told when he was going to hang Bhutto. A politician told him, एक कब्र है, दो लाशें हैं, एक तुम्हारी है, एक भुट्टो की है. So you make up your mind whether you want to send Bhutto underground or you want to go underground. कब्र एक ही है. So in the case of Asim Munir also, कब्र एक है. या वो इमरान खान जाएगा उसके अंदर या आसिम मुनीर जाएगा. They both can't survive. Imran Khan won't forgive Asim Munir. He's just not built that way. And the entire lot of present government, ministers, prime ministers, Adari, Bhuttos, everybody, Imran Khan will push behind bars.
I mean,
So if push comes to shove, I don't think so. Asif Munir is going to let Imran Khan survive. Certainly not politically. Certainly not politically. Maybe even physically.
So what's the game then? Okay, no, you wait and all that stuff. We will do an election and then you come to power and this is all hool.
Yeah. You see, Asif Munir now, instead of retiring in 2025,
so 27, 28,
years,
29, I don't know when.
He will now go up to 27.
Yeah.
Now the elections will be due only in 29.
Yeah.
So he's ensured himself another 5-year term. Come 27, this government will give him another 5 years till 32. So even if new elections are held, Imran Khan should see the writing on the wall that Asif Munir will continue to be army chief. Asif Munir is not going to give up power because he's riding on a tiger. Either the remits office one day, next day he's on a flight to Dubai or London or the US or whatever. If elections are held in his, on his beat, Imran Khan is not coming back into power. Imran Khan may be convinced today that he will come back into power, but not so long as Asif Munir is there. In his present avatar and in the future 5 years that he will get.
I mean, it's such a stupid sort of a scenario, and pardon me, but here are two people fighting their personal battles, and nobody in Pakistan stands up and says, "Hello, what's wrong with you guys? You're killing my country." And what they're now bothered about is trying to find a place in Bangladesh so that they can finger around with India. That's exactly. Come on.
No, don't laugh. Because Bangladesh suddenly has got a sense of importance. Bangladesh feels it has now come out of the high table in South Asia.
Yeah.
That, it can now tie up with Pakistan and then try and poke holes and poke fingers into India's eyes.
My God, that's such a high table.
You're supposed to be really top of the world, yeah.
It's such a high table, sir.
Yeah.
It's such a high table to be, right? You're able to poke something into India's eyes in such a high table to be. I mean, look at the aspirations of these countries. That's something which it amazes me that they don't talk about development. They don't talk about their futures. They don't talk about their children. They don't talk about anything else. And funnily speaking, Pakistan Today writes an article that there is going to be a civil war in Bangladesh.
Who is in this?
Pakistan Today, sir.
Okay, Pakistan Today.
Yeah. And Pakistan Today is, I personally feel some of their write-ups are better than the Dawn. Dawn has now become Dawn, It's basically the army's message which is coming.
It has its reputation. So everybody goes to Dawn first.
Yeah.
Before they go to the other papers.
Oh, hey, I've started reading Pakistan Today a little more because I find Pakistan Today has become a little more pragmatic, a little more realistic. Dawn ke na was wo thoda bhi Dawn banti dikhate hain, and most of the chaps that are writing in Dawn is all army chaps. All bloody the stooges from the army and stuff like that. So,
but what interesting are the army handles.
Yeah.
The army handles on X. You can straight away make out. You can straight away make. It's very interesting what the I think it was the official mouthspeak of the Taliban, which quoted a tweet by this guy, a handle called Eagle Eye.
Yeah.
One day before Haqqani was blown up, he said, "Get ready," or something to that effect. And immediately after that blast, he deleted the tweet. But the Taliban have got onto it. They have it.
Yeah.
They have it. They know that who said and why, and they know that this is an army side, an army handle. So, that kind of triumphalism and immaturity and stupidity continues to, haunt them. But on this
Coming,
Bangladesh angle, it's
sir,
interesting because Pakistan feels, at some level, oh, dekho, two nation theory was right. We are now coming back as brothers, lost in arms,
mm,
long lost brothers. हम फिर से इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं.
they tried
So
this with
we will,
Maldives also. They
yeah.
tried this with Maldives. Maldives smacked them on the face. Then, भाग जा यहाँ से, सालो, तुम्हारे पास कुछ नहीं, हमको क्या
See, what
पता.
does Bangladesh need? They need electricity. Pakistan electricity supply करेगा. Where is the
हाँ,
transmission line? How will they send it? They'll send
नहीं
it
नहीं,
through internet or something. How will
वो
they
ऊपर
send
से
it?
आएगा, ऊपर से. We'll send it on top, and the top will supply it down.
Food they need.
Yeah,
They need exports. Their textile exports were $60 billion, which are
gone.
all now collapsed. All have collapsed. People have shifted out factories. Employment, women are not being allowed to work. So they've lost so much. And yet you have these silly army guys say that in 4 hours we can be in Calcutta. So Mamta Banerjee said, our chief minister, that you think we've got lollipops? Very tough statement she made.
Stupidity, sir.
Yeah.
So, the other angle that we had discussed in the last question, before we take some audience questions as well, the other angle was the fight between the Kandahar and the Kabul faction within Afghanistan itself. And the Pakistanis trying hard to kind of break this thing, because if the Pakistanis know if they're able to actually bring this Kandahar-Kabul faction fight out, तो अफगानिस्तान थोड़ा सा कंट्रोल में आ जाएगा, थोड़ा सा एटलीस्ट the focus on Pakistan, the over focus on Pakistan will die down a bit. And if you see the Pakistani handles, again, these army handles, they keep talking about this, oh, Kabul versus Kandahar, ye dekho bhi jhagda ho gaya, ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya. They keep talking about this stuff. How far do you think this jhagda is there? Of course, they will be, because these guys are already gun-toting terrorists at the end of it. But reforming themselves, trying hard. I am quite proud of the Taliban with the way they've kind of stabilized their country to a large extent. Quite proud of them. And I don't think any other terrorist organization previously would reform themselves in this particular way and kind of bring themselves down, except the women and this and that. There are issues. Let's face that. But I'm happy that they've been able to stabilize their country. I'm happy they've been able to get employment going, reduce the drugs. A lot of good stuff has also happened in Afghanistan as well. Now, is this factionalism that the Pakistanis keep talking about real, or is this a figment of imagination within Pakistan that they're trying to kind of build up and create some sort of an issue within Afghanistan itself? Or is there a factionism, but it's handleable? It's not as bad as what people talk about.
Yeah.
What is it?
I think the latter. See, there is factionalism in any kind of organization.
There will be
a democratic party, or you call it even a militant organization. There's bound to be pulls and pressures.
Yeah.
Now here, this is the moderates of Kabul versus the extremists of Kandahar. That is one binary that is given. The second binary, which I think is more relevant, Afghanistan has always been ruled by the Duranis, and for a little while by the Gilzais. Especially after the Mujahideen and things like that, and the Taliban, largely Gilzais. So suddenly, the Zadrans, who are from the Eastern Confederation, have come into prominence. The Duranis and the Gilzai have always been, I wouldn't say hostile, but there has definitely been rivalry between them, a pretty serious rivalry. But suddenly they find that both of them have been upped by the Zadrans, who they consider as upstarts. The Eastern, ye kahan se aa gaye? So you may even have a unity of Duranis and Gilzais turning together against the Zadrans. So that's a different kind of. So there's a Kabul Kandahar, and there is a Gilzai Durrani versus the Zadrans. But these are the kind of pulls and pressure. But at the end of the day, the Taliban are very smart people. They know that if they don't hang together, they will all hang separately.
They're gone.
They cannot afford to have differences among themselves, because then the rank and file will go berserk. So the only way that Habatullah, what he's trying to do is that if you let go of your ideology, if you have even a chink in that ideology, the whole structure of Taliban will collapse. Now, he cannot allow women's education, for example. Having in Taliban 1.0, they had the same policy, and Taliban 2.0, they had the same policy. That if you say, okay, we will allow women's education, then were you wrong in Taliban 1.0, or are you wrong now? So as soon as you have any chinks in the ideological framework of Taliban rule, it is a sure slippery slope, which will lead to breakup of the Taliban. And you have the ISKP waiting in the wings. Already a lot of disaffected Taliban have gone and joined the ISKP.
Yeah.
Because the ISKP is projecting itself as the real sort of people who are pushing for Sharia. They call the Taliban apostates. They are not true, following the ideology. So they can't afford to dent their ideological framework. I don't think so that even Sirajuddin Haqqani and the Haqqani group as such is all that liberal and moderate as is being made out to be. And even when it comes to pro-Pakistan, what Pakistan is trying to do, Haqqanis have never made any statement in favor of the Durand Line. They'll be as opposed to the Durand Line as any other Pashtun in Afghanistan. So it doesn't help Pakistan in any which manner that if their core interest is not accepted. The only guy who was perhaps at one time thinking in terms of helping Pakistan on the Durand Line was Gulbuddin Hekmatyar. That also because he wanted to come into power riding on Pakistani shoulders. He was the only guy who's talked about the Durand Line in a positive framework. But neither is Sirajuddin Haqqani nor any other Pashtun, certainly not the Taliban, will accept the Durand Line. So what does Pakistan get out of these divisions? To be able to dominate the Taliban, Pakistan will have to do much, much more than think that there are these divisions, Kabuli Kandar, or on tribal lines. Right now, I don't think so there's any real division which could lead to the collapse of the Taliban. They know themselves that they will collapse if these differences come to the fore. Yes, there will be leadership struggle. Yaqub may say something, Haqqani may want something else. Haibatullah, for example, passed his instructions that no weapon can be withdrawn without his personal say-so. Now, that was a very tough order because, a Pashtun without a weapon in Afghanistan is an anomaly. They all carry weapons. So, it just showed again that there could be, Haqqani or Yaqub having tried to settle their own differences. So, yes, differences are there, but they should not be exaggerated. Pakistan would love to exaggerate them. Pakistan would love to spread this, that there are serious differences, but I don't think so. I don't think so.
That's what I thought, sir, because, if they had these differences, the differences should have shot out during the time when they took up, power in Afghanistan. It would have come out at that time itself. And yeah,
so there were differences. That's why government formation took a while. Look, everybody does it, hankering after ministries. It happens in democracies. It happens in democracy, even if it's a single party government. People want loaves, they want loaves of office. So these kind of differences, jockeying around for position bargaining will happen.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that the Pakistanis keep bringing this up. Oh, ये तो आपस में लड़ते रहते हैं तो टूट जाएंगे लोग. अबे तू अपना देख लो यार. बेवकूफो, you're already pointing fingers at them. I mean, those guys know much better how to run a country and how to trust me. I think the Pakistanis need to take advice from the Taliban as to how to run a country. It's not funny. It's
especially finance, especially the economy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, their economy is being supported by America or this and that. Oh, yeah, ठीक है. America से भी तो सारा यहाँ पे भी तो America से पैसे आते हैं इनको. What have they done better than वहाँ? At least they're getting the money. They're putting it in real things. They're making roads. They've got their they're wanting to run their own airline again.
Yeah. And canal. Look at the canal that they built. Kushtopa.
वहाँ पर डैम्स बना रहे हैं, वो स्कूल्स बना रहे हैं, हॉस्पिटल्स बना रहे हैं, they're making de-addiction centers, they're making bloody they're restoring all the temples. वो बामियान बुद्धा में जो उल्टे काम कर रहे थे पहले, they are talking to people, यार इसको कैसे रिस्टोर करना है जरा बताओ. वो दोबारा बुद्धा का डिजाइन है क्या किसी के पास? They're talking to people about that. They've got in touch with people in Bodh Gaya and all that. Ki sab, if this, do you guys have, do you know how to kind of, we made a mistake. Can we redo that again? And I was shocked when I came to know this. I'm like, they want to rebuild the Buddhas there? Yeah, because they say that, boss, this will be a big tourist attraction.
Yeah,
so we want to make a small little airport.
And it's culture, It's culture. It's not less religious, and it's part of the heritage.
हम एक वहां पर इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट बनाएंगे, वहां पर बुद्धिस्ट आएंगे, वो देखेंगे, हम पैसे बनाएंगे वहां पर. दे आर वेरी हैप्पी विद इट. और यहाँ पाकिस्तान है, bloody they've got Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, that, this, everything, and they bloody, what do they do in Harappa? They go and bloody hammer nails into it because some politician wants to come there and give a lecture. It's insane. Somewhere down the line, I think Afghanistan needs to take over Pakistan and say, "Bhai, हम चलाते हैं, तुम तेरा side हो जाओ." We'll do it.
So they already claim up to Attak is Ahmad Shah Abdali's territory. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they're very clear.
I was seriously shocked when I heard the factor about this. The factor that they wanted to rebuild the Bamiyan Buddhas.
Buddhas, yeah.
That's not bad. करो ठीक है यार, बुला लेना, हम भी आ जाएंगे, देख लेंगे क्या है. It's quite this thing, and they're talking about अच्छा यार railway line, आप बताओ रेलवे लाइन कैसे बनाएंगे. We want to create the railway line. वो इंडिया से सामान जाना है, तजिकिस्तान की तरफ जाना है, सेंट्रल एशिया की तरफ जाना है, तो हम रेलवे लाइन बना लेते हैं. The Zaraz Dalaram, that they've completed that. The Iranians have not been able to do it. Afghans have done it till the bloody Iranian border.
So they're investing in Chabahar port. Like 30 million or something they've given to the Iranians for Chabahar port.
Yeah. Look at that. The Iranians have not been able to make that road and the railway line. The Afghans have said, boss, our railway line is ready. It's on the border. Bero saman. Koi tension nahi hai. I'd rather have really Afghanistan as my neighbor than these monkeys over here. In any case, let's get into questions. They're the true Pashtuns, I think, who are actually focused into what they're supposed to do. Let's get into questions, guys. My request to everybody, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your friends and families. Let's take a few questions. Sabse pehle, I want to just say a thanks to Unknown Gunman 007 for gifting a membership to someone. And our friend from Afghanistan, Norman, thank you so much for this question. He says, Mali Khan, the brother-in-law of Haqqani and Deputy Army Chief of Afghanistan, confirmed that the attack was conducted by ISKP and enemies that are trying to divide them, which won't happen.
Okay, that's interesting. So they're using the ISKP to create or think that they can widen the differences. Very interesting.
So that's that. Yesterday the ISKP, there are a few handles on Twitter which are affiliated to ISKP. So I keep following them, and they had this little bit of a celebration with regards to this guy's killing. It's like, okay, these guys are being a little too blatant, because I've been wondering where ISKP is, because they've not put out the Khorasan magazine this quarter.
Okay.
I actually look forward for that magazine because I really come to know what are they thinking and stuff like that. They've not put out a magazine now for 4-5 months. So I was wondering, इनको क्या हो गया भाई? इनका क्या designing bureau बंद हो गया? क्या हो गया? What has happened? All right, Rajesh ji says, court martial of former ISI chief has started and likely to be hanged on very serious charges. What will happen to Imran Khan post the hanging, sir? In case he does get...
It depends if the two of them are convicted together, or they use Asim Munir uses this as only a threat to ensure that Imran Khan behaves himself. So we'll just have to wait. You can't judge today, but yes, the charges against Faiz Hameed, especially the portion which they say are being investigated, the simple matter is they would not have said some charges are being investigated if they hadn't already done the investigation and they were sure about it. They won't have put it out in the media. The fact that they have done means his goose is cooked. And now they're just waiting for the political aspect of the charge that whether they're going to rope in Imran Khan. If he behaves, then they may not take this charge to its logical conclusion. Then Faiz Hameed may not hang. He may well get off back sentences for a couple of years. But Imran Khan will depend on what he does. I think this is going to be the ultimate test for Imran Khan, that will he compromise? Will he talk to the government, agree not to destabilize the government? Or if he continues to relent, does not relent, then I think the situation is going to be very sticky for him.
Indeed. My apologies. Yeah.
So
Seven
this is a
says,
question.
yes, sir. Pashtuns have realized that Punjabis will not show up. So can Pashtuns fight alone with the Pakistani army? Can the POK people support the Pashtuns?
You see, in terms of sheer numbers, about almost 70% of the Pak army is Punjabi. So even if you add the Pashtun component of the army together with other Pashtun people, it will be difficult to take on the Pakistan army just by themselves. You'll have to have the Baloch, you'll have to have people from Gilgit, the Azad Kashmir and all that. Then it's an open, full-out civil war. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. It'll be more of a, if it goes down to the, in that kind of a situation, it'll be a pretty drawn-out war of attrition, civil war, especially making use of bases in Waziristan and in part of the mountainous hilly areas. Once you come down beyond south of Attak and into Punjab, these are all flatlands. Here, the Pashtun is not used to fighting in the plains. He is really a hardy fighter in the mountains where the terrain suits him. In an open battlefield, the Punjabi army will make mincemeat. Except in the urban areas.
So, Naman says, Tilak sir, good afternoon. My honest opinion, 20 years in Afghanistan and following insurgency, they have lost the appetite for the time being. To Pashtuns.
Possible, yes, because there's very strong yearning for peace. But peace with honor. You see, ultimately, at the end of the day, if the Pashtuns feel alienated, if there's racial profiling, if they are pushed to the wall, kya karenge? What will they do? They can't live without honor. For the Pashtun, to be called a begarat or a man without honor is a very big insult. Probably the biggest insult among the Pashtuns. So if they don't get honor, if they're racially profiled, if they're harassed and picked up, in Islamabad, like what is being happening now, then, but the yearning for peace is certainly there. I mean, I don't deny that.
So, I promised you I'll get you out before 4, sir. And this is the last one that we will take. Another one from Norman. He says, Khalil Haqqani was the 42nd family member killed in war. Won't make any difference. Being a Durrani myself, I know the mindset of the Zardans.
Interesting. I didn't know that there was. I knew large number of Haqqanis had been killed, but 42 is a large number, a very large number. And this is also all within the last 2 generations.
It's quite interesting that the kind of violence which is actually taking place, and that's what I wonder, that I asked you this question as well. And this is one thing that I'm not being able to kind of put to myself, is that Pashtuns really have a huge tolerance, especially the PTM and stuff like that. They've been tolerating so much. It's not even funny.
So, that's just, so when Khudai Khidmatgar and Frontier Gandhi started his movement, Nehru and Gandhi and the people were shocked. They said, how come you have declined to pick up the gun? He said, and Ghaffar Khan gave a very wise answer. He said, it is a man who knows what violence can do. Only he can be brave enough to give up violence. So for the Pashtun, non-violence is a measure of strength and not weakness.
Wow.
So the same tradition, the Awami National Party too. Wali Khan, Sandhyar Wali, and now Amal Wali, they're all trained in non-violence. But then picking up a gun is the easiest thing to do. But not to pick up a gun is really bravery.
There's a funny comment. I'll take that and we'll end the show, sir. By the way, being called Begarat and is being given the biggest honor in Pakistani culture.
यार हम दोनों पंजाबी हैं, इतना बेशर्मी, इतनी हमें शर्मिंदगी तो मत लगाओ.
नहीं सर, मैं ये बहुत बारी बोलता हूँ, and I'll say it again. ये पंजाबी में, ये वाला पंजाबी में और वो वाले पंजाबी में कोई कनेक्शन नहीं है. वो साले कहाँ से आए मुझे नहीं पता. They probably speak the language, but I don't know where they bloody came from. They're not Punjabis. Punjabis are people with bloody big hearts. These monkeys have a heart of, I mean, it'll be difficult to locate it under a microscope. They have no freaking heart at all. कुछ नहीं है इनके पास. Sir, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. This was really a learning, discussion because it gave me a peek into. I've always wondered Pashtunwali, how will it be implemented, and I'm going to still wonder, but I'm going to wonder with a little more clarity.
Yeah. So remember always time. The Pashtun has time and patience on his side. He's not in a hurry. So what do? They will very thoughtful, well thought out. Time is meaningless. Pushed are pushed. Revenge goes pushed, father to son to grandson, but it will be taken. Because otherwise, that Pashtun family will not be able to maintain respect with their neighbors, other family members. So revenge is a critical part. But time is another factor. Thank you so much, Aadi. It's always great to be on your show. I enjoy talking to you. Wish you all the best. And wish your viewers also all the very best. Thank you.
Bye-bye, sir. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat.